Good morning. Welcome, everyone. This is Thursday, March the what, 13th, 14th, March 14th, 2024, and this is your monthly 203K Consultant Skill Building Call. My name is Catherine Hall. I'm the Executive Director of the National Association of FHA Consultants, and in these calls, we spend 45 minutes giving you little nuggets of information about how to be a successful 203K consultant. These calls are technical in nature. We're going to be talking about the process of being a 203K consultant, how you do individual activities to be able to be successful as a consultant. Today is the fifth in a five-part series called The Flow of a 203K Project Using the Genesis Rehab Reporting System. And I'm going to share my screen. Excellent, great. So let me just get my screen share up and running. Bingo. So this is the flow of a 203K project using the Genesis Rehab Reporting System. And when we use this process, we actually created this spreadsheet. I created this flow chart because we are so excited because we have so many new members joining us every single day, as you probably are noticing in the Skype group. And every single time we have a new member, they need to understand what the flow of events is for doing a renovation project. 203K consulting is you do well to have a background as a home inspector, but to be a successful 203K consultant, you are going to be using different skills. You're going to be understanding different processes. So what we're doing today is we're going to be going into the fifth of the five parts, which is draw inspections. As I was preparing this conversation today, we've actually shrunk these conversations down to 45 minutes. And as I was preparing for this, I realized that we will probably not get everything we need to discuss about draw inspections completed in the 45 minutes today. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the next session in April is actually going to be part 2 of part 5. Okay, so this is part 5A, and then next month it's going to be part 5B, because we're going to talk about the mechanics and the flow of a successful draw inspection. But after closing, as many of our existing members know and our longtime members know, the rubber meets the road and a lot of things go sideways after closing. And so we're going to basically have in our next session, the April session, is going to be a draw inspection troubleshooting training. Okay, so today we're going to talk about all the routine specific details that must take place in every draw inspection, flowing it from working with the contractor, creating the reports. We're going to touch on creating a change order, and we're going to work from the perspective that everything's moving smoothly. But raise your hand or raise your hand in the chat, or type in the chat, yeah, if you know as from experience that draw inspections do not always go smoothly from beginning to end. It is very unlikely you're going to have 5 draws where you're going to have every single draw be a matter of contractor submits his draw, you inspect, you send the money, everybody's happy. That usually doesn't happen every single solitary draw of every project. So the next session we're going to talk about will be troubleshooting. We're going to delve into a lot next session about how to give contractor money before he does work. We're going to talk about how to terminate a contractor. We're going to talk about how to completely change the scope of work. We're even going to talk about how to resign from a project, and more important, and also how to take over a project. So those are those elements. That alone will take up 45 minutes. And so that's what we're going to be discussing in the April session. And in fact, we are hoping to have some of our team leaders lead that conversation. So we're really excited that we're going to have some of our amazing senior experienced team leaders talking about those conditions, or actually sharing the conversation with me. So let's get started right away. And before I actually move into the actual technical part of this, I want you all to know that we actually are recording this session and we are actually transcribing it using Fathom AI. Excuse me. Pardon me. And I had to make a decision. We used to live stream these skill building calls on Facebook, but you cannot live stream and run Fathom AI in the background at the same time. And I felt, and I hope, and if you disagree, please message me in the Skype group. I felt it was more powerful to have the benefit of the Fathom AI recording and the transcript with key takeaways and places you actually can just click a link and go straight to that video of the recording and be able to use this tool more effectively. So instead of doing the screen share on a Facebook Live, we are using the Fathom AI for all the recordings for all of our coaching sessions, so that you actually can be able to go back and just grab nuggets that you need. Okay. And if this works for you, please type in the chat that this is a good idea, or if you feel it should be live streamed, you prefer live streaming. But I feel that with the Fathom AI, one, the recording is available usually within 45 seconds of me ending the meeting, and I'm able to post it in Skype faster. Two, you can see the key takeaways, action items, and highlights that I put in the conversation, and you actually get the full recording to be able to see with the actual word for word transcript. So type in the chat if you feel that you would prefer to have something else in the conversation. All right. So we are letting people in, and excuse me, I've got a little bit of a horse voice. All right, so we have Walter Williams is on the call today. He's one of our team leaders. Walter, I'm going to make you a co-host, and Nathan, I'm going to also make you a co-host, who are also one of our team leaders, so that if you see people who are logging in or asking to come in, if you could just admit them, you'll be able to hit the admit button and let them in, so I can actually focus 100% on training today. All right, guys. So let's get going. So one more thing about this file, this 203K flow of activities. This is a very amazing, powerful tool for you to share with your lending partners, real estate agents, and social media. This is a PDF file that's available in the vault, and you actually in the archive of skill building calls, and you can print this off, and you can actually put on the back side of this PDF your branded content. And my suggestion would be that you would have a bunch of these printed off on a nice, glossy, shiny cardstock, and just hand this out everywhere, with the conversation being on the other side of this PDF. Work with a consultant who knows what they're doing from the very first step to the final inspection. Contact Nathan Spalding at NPI Jacksonville. So that is what you can use this form and show people what all goes into being a consultant. A lot of people have a very poor understanding of what we do, how much we do, and how much we are worth the money we are paid or need to be paid. And this is one of the ways that you are able to show your value, your worth, and the details of everything that you do. So please consider, so I'm going to show you where you can find that. I'm going to hit a new screen share. Okay, good. So please consider going to your NAFHAC vault, and inside the vault, under the archive of skill building calls, I'm going to show you where to find this. Perfect. If you go down here to members vault, it's available to all members. Right here, you have the archive of monthly skill building training sessions, access archive here. And there you can see, this is part 4 was from last month. So part 5 will be here at the top, but then under each of the sections, you'll find each of the parts where they refer to the specific section of consulting. So here's part 1 of 5, and there's the PDF. And so when you scroll down to preliminary work write-up, which is the second step, there you see part 2 with the flow of activities, the complete video, including transcript, and the payment chart that was discussed in part 2. And as you go down, contractor bidding, there it is, part 3 with the video and the flow of activities. Part 4, work write-up, again, there you go, part 4, full video, flow of activities chart, and then once again, the payment chart, because we re-evaluated how you report your payment. So now, after we complete this session today, that will actually be put right here at the top of draws, part 5 of the 203K flow of activity draw inspections. So you can find this in the vault under the taskbar of Member Vault, it's available in elite members only. This is here for you to be able to utilize. All right, so now that you know where to find these and how valuable this is, let's get started talking about Genesis. So what I want to talk about today with Genesis is the draw inspection process. And so I have several projects that are in various stages of draws so that you actually can see what exactly I am referring to. Perfect. All right. One of the things I want to share with you is when I created Genesis, I designed it to please me, okay, as a person who was doing a ton of projects ongoing every single month. And so I wanted to also be able to have a snapshot view for my back office staff and for the people who work with me to see what exactly was going on. So on the main page of the Genesis dashboard for the consultant, you will see an active current projects, basically bar graph. It shows you what's happening in each section of, and so here you can see I've got 1 in preliminary work write-up, I've got 4 in contractor bidding, I've got 11 in work write-up, and I have 7 in draws. So this actually shows you an overview of your productivity. When you hit the projects tab, however, this is where you really can see what's going on. And I'm going to zoom in because right here on the active projects tab, actually, I'm going to zoom out. Boom. The active projects tab, it shows you what is going on in every single area of your projects. So you can see how many are in preliminary work write-up, how many are in bidding, how many have no bids yet to been received, how many are in work write-up, and the draw inspections. So I'm going to zoom back in again so I can really just show you this part down here. Under the draw inspection tab of the active projects, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections that you need to see. The most important one that I want you to pay attention to is this one down here, 25 days since last draw inspection. This is what is your guide to let you know when you should be getting ready to schedule another draw. You should be performing draws at least once every 30 days. Okay. So if someone can let that person in, if they see, do you guys see the person's looking to get added in? Got it. Thank you. So 25 days since last draw inspection. Let's be real. Okay. And let's be honest. You will make the bulk of your revenue after closing. Draw inspections are where you make $350 plus mileage if it's more 15 miles or more for every draw. If you don't schedule that draw, you can't make up the money. But here's the point. You should be ordering and calling for them to schedule the draw every 30 days. If the contractor is beginning the project and says, hey, I'm not ready to do a draw yet, let's take, for example, up in the Northeast, when we would start a project in the winter and it was going to be some changes to the foundation and you can't break ground in the frozen snow-covered ground, they would delay closing. They would delay the first draw. But that did not negate my requirement to notify them, hey, you should be doing a draw. It's time to schedule a draw. And then when they sent me an email saying, I can't do a draw because we can't break ground, or I can't do a draw because the permits are delayed. We're waiting for architectural plans. The municipality hasn't reviewed them, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the reason, you are required to contact your customer and the contractor to anticipate and prepare for a draw at least every 30 days. So in the beginning, if the contractor says, I'm not ready to do a draw, you need to send a message to the loan officer, letting them know, I just want to let you know, I reached out to all parties as we were closing in on the first 30 days since the loan closed. They're not ready to perform a draw because of the following conditions. Please acknowledge that this is acceptable and that you do not require me to go out and perform a compliance inspection. They're going to say, yeah, no worries. You've contacted them, you've stayed in touch, you're good. If you get into a situation, and we'll talk more about this in troubleshooting next month, where the contractor hasn't been out to the property for months at a time, 2, 3, 4 months, he's MIA, or he's just simply just whatever, you need to plan to go out and do what is known as compliance draw inspection. And we're going to walk through that in the next session in our troubleshooting, in the post-close troubleshooting section tab. And I didn't include that on the flow chart because, again, I don't want people seeing trouble. Okay, so this is going to be an appendix to the 5 parts. So here you can see we have 25 days since last draw inspection. I'm not going to touch that right now. I'm going to start with the ones that are yet to commence. But any single time you press any of these buttons, it will show you only those elements that meet that criteria. So here you can see that we have projects that are yet to commence. These are draws that have not yet started and they've closed. You have completed the work write-up, and once you finalize the work write-up, it enters the draw inspection task list. So now I'm going to go back into the work write-up task list, because you see, you cannot start draws. Contractors cannot see projects until you finalize the work write-up. So here's the thing to understand. Once you go to closing, once you hand this off to the appraiser, once you've been paid, once you're waiting for them to close, you're going to sit here in the work write-up task list. You do not advance it until they have closed. Once they have told you that they've closed, you need to contact the loan officer and ask them for a Rehab escrow subtotal report. Okay. And the purpose of that report, and let me go to this here. Open up that page. Good. So rehab, so ask for the Rehab subtotal escrow report. I'm adding that as a highlight in the Fathom, okay? If you don't, you risk having a situation where you have incorrect numbers in your scope of work. You see, we create the scope of work, we hand it off to the lender goes to underwriting. Our report is signed by all parties, but it is not fixed in stone. Underwriters, appraisers, lenders, borrowers, contractors are going to be dealing with this paperwork after we've handed it off, and they many times, not too often, thankfully, but frequently will change your numbers. Let's say, for example, at the last minute, a credit pull showed that the borrower didn't qualify for the amount that was supposed to be done, and they have reduced the total contract amount by X amount of dollars and have eliminated whatever, okay? So usually when they reduce the contract amount, they do not go to the great detail of deleting your line items, which is very frustrating. They just cut it off of the bottom line and they expect us to figure it out after closing. Hopefully, the underwriter and the lender will contact you and say, we need you to remove $4,000 from the project. In which case you would here inside the work write-up, go into the specification of repairs, contact the contractor and the borrower and say, look, we're going to take out the appliances because we have to get this job under by 4,000. Just letting you know, I'm going to rewrite this, send it back for signatures. That's the perfect world. In the real world, they're rushing to go to closing. They cut 5,000 off or 4,000 off. They tell the contractor, hey, we're going to take 4,000 off of the appliances. And then they go to closing and no one contacts you. So after closing, you find out that they have done this and you have finalized your work write-up and moved into draw inspection. You will need to roll back and edit the specification of repairs to make it match their total. So I'm going to finalize this here. Okay, and let's see. I got to check the sign button. Okay, so I'm finalizing that. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go over to the contractor side. So I'm going to log in as a contractor. And this one is so I'm logging as the contractor, and here you can see that this contractor, he has a project that is in draws. He also has a contract that he actually is available to bid, okay, and he's never opened it. But we're going to be worrying about we're going to be looking at the project where he has the opportunity to enter his draws, okay? So we're going to be looking at this project here. When a contractor sees his bid, he actually can go in and look at the work write-up PDF and see all the numbers. He can review it in its entirety. He can print it off. He can see exactly what he agreed to in the project. And this is where he can enter his draws. All right, so this is the final work write-up and specification of repairs. It tells the contractor what permits he's required to pull. It tells him every single line item and what the amounts are that he agreed to. And it actually shows him all the way down to the bottom what the number of draws that are going to be done, and the total amount that he agreed to. Okay, so let's just keep that open and let's go back to Genesis. So now that we have finalized that project that I was just sharing with you, Del Monticos, it's now in draw inspections. So before we had 7 projects in draw, now we have 8 with 6 yet to commence. So let's take that project I just showed you, the contractor. Because it is in draw inspection task list, the contractor is able to log into his Genesis and enter his bid. So this is what it looks like when a contractor goes to enter his bid. He will go into his screen and he will see the project and he sees the place where it says enter draw. This is designed to make it as easy as possible for the contractor to manage. It shows what the amount of the contingency that's available to be entered. It shows them the step-by-step process. And here it gives it to them in real easy tasks. Step 1, enter draw request. Step 2, preview and print the PDF. Step 3, submit to consultant. It couldn't get any easier. And the areas that the contractor can enter numbers are in green so that he can see what the categories are that he can enter numbers. All right, so let's say, for example, he's going to be putting in, we have $1,500 in masonry. He's going to basically, and one of the things you need to know when a contractor submits his bid, you need to let them know that they must ensure that their draw, when the contractor submits a draw, the draw must represent no less than 10% of the total rehab amount. So we're going to say that he's going to do $250 for masonry, and he's going to do, let's say, $150 for siding. It's just a permit. And down here, under wood floors, he's got just, let's say, $100 for the permit. And with cabinetry, we're going to say that he has requested a material advance in the cabinetry category. So let's go back to the work write-up. This is why I opened it up. Here you see the cabinetry category. The contractor has requested a materials advance. When he does this, he has to give you an invoice on letterhead. Usually they ask for their material advance at the first draws. You need to ask them to give you an invoice from the company where they're getting this cabinetry, because you cannot pay the contractor. You have to pay the company that they are requesting to be getting the draw from.
Catherine, we're just seeing the yet to commence page. I'm not sure.
Thank you. Let me go back to my screen.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
My bad. Sorry. Okay. So let me just recap. I have actually logged in as the contractor. And here you can see that the steps for them to complete a draw are very easy and clearly spelled out for them. And I've entered numbers here for masonry. I entered numbers for siding. And now I was down in the cabinetry section where we had $22,500 to spend. And the contractor has advised you he needs to order the cabinetry and he needs the money up front. And in order to do that, what you do is you have to say to him, okay, you have for cabinets and countertops, all right, you have $14,500. You can only get an advance of half of the total material amount. Now, remember, this is for cabinets and countertops. And what I did not do in this report, which is my mistake on this and this quick job I created today, I didn't put the category details to tell you what amount was for cabinetry and what amount was for cabinets. And that should be included in your write-up. And I've been talking to some of you lately. Make sure you put that in your category detail. I hurried up and rushed and created this today, and I didn't put that in there. That was my mistake. So let's assume and let's pretend that here under category detail, I've written the fact that the cabinetry cost for material is $10,000 and the cabinetry cost for countertops is $4,500. So we know that the cabinetry is $10,000. So of that $10,000, the contractor can request $5,000, provided he is giving you an invoice or purchase order from Cabinets R Us for $10,000. So now when he does that, he's going to put in here $5,000. Okay. But let's just understand things. He doesn't know these nuances. He doesn't understand. He probably is going to put on his purchase order $10,000. Okay, he's going to say, I want $10,000 because the purchase order said $10,000 and that's what I want. Don't worry, because you can edit his numbers once you get it. Okay, so now you're going to click to save the draw request. So this is what the contractor is doing. So when he is asking to click to save the draw, it now updates the numbers. Now, when he scrolls down, you can see here that we've actually facilitated so the contractor can create change orders right inside Genesis. Again, next month, we're going to go into more details about processing change orders, but I want you to understand, even if they don't have their own invoice or their own letterhead, we give them the ability to create the invoice that they would then submit to you for the change order. So they're doing a first draw. With a first draw, he cannot get money for a change order. With the first draw, he can submit the invoice, which you then would submit to the lender, and then the lender approves it, and then he gets paid in a subsequent draw. But for now, let's assume that he's asking for, let's say the siding is going to cost more money. Okay, so found new siding repairs needed, extra cost $2,000 for front and rear walls around first floor windows. I would love it if a contractor was this detailed in his change orders. Many of them aren't, but we're going to hit click to save change order. So you see, he has to scroll past this to get to the place where he submits. Okay, so if he has a change order, we're telling him, you actually can enter this. If you do not require a change order invoice, leave this section blank. So we're just putting this in there and we're saving it. Bonus. So we're saving the change order. So now we're scrolling back down. Then he can generate a preview of his draw request. Now I'm not going to do that for the case of time, but this will generate the draw request and the lien waiver. So if, for example, your contractor is sending a shop foreman to attend that draw in his behalf, and you say to him, are you attending the draw inspection? Well, no, I won't be there, but my foreman will. Well, then I need, when you create your draw, to sign that lien waiver and give it to him to present to me, so I have your wet signed lien waiver. If he doesn't do any of that, no worries. You can send it to them with Acrobat Pro with your e-signature documentation. But if he does, it makes it a lot easier for you. So now we don't need to generate it, but we're now going to finalize and submit this draw. Okay. So now what this is going to do is actually, it's going to create this, and now it's going to send it over to you. So now you see this project, it shows that he's completed his first draw, and he's able to view that first draw in a PDF. Okay. Now, let me just highlight a point. Because this is a practice program, I always use the demonstration version. If you are a certified consultant already with your HUD roster ID number and a NAFHAC member, and this shows up on your printouts, please contact the office so we can actually make sure that turn that key off to make sure your reports are in proper, don't have this watermark. So now scrolling down, that's the draw, page 2 of the draw. And there is the invoice. So we created the invoice with the borrower's name, the change order, the contractor's information, and it even has a cute little logo for him with the date and his contact information, property address, borrower's name, the description of the repairs, and it even drops his signature in. And there is the lien waiver for the full amount of the draw. We do not create the lien waiver for the change order. Why? Because he's not getting paid today. We're only submitting this invoice for approval. Okay, so let's go back out here. Let's go back in to our side of Genesis. I'm going to refresh the screen. I probably have to log back in. Nope, I don't. Okay, good. So we're going to go right here to draw inspection task list for Carol Smith. And when we open it up, you can see right there on the screen, contractor has submitted numbers. Go to draw page 1 to import them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go into the draw. I actually had completed all of this. I'm going to go back in now and show you what I did. So draw package cover page. For your first draw, you need to make sure you are inserting all permits. And you go back to the permit insert form to see how many you had to have. Okay. And then you're going to basically put in, there's no invoice for change order processing, but you have a pre-approval change order. Okay. So we're going to update the data. And we're going to go back to the draw inspection task list. So we're going to go to draw request form 1. So here you can see where I can now view contractors' numbers. So I'm going to click this, and now I can see what the contractor requested. So there you see he requested $10,000. Well, I'm going to call him up and say, okay, I'm getting ready to schedule to come out to the property, but I need you to know I will not be able to pay you $10,000 because the total amount, let's go back in here to that PDF, the total amount available for cabinetry is $10,000. You're only able to get 50% of that amount. With the invoice that you sent me says $10,000 to Cabinets R Us. I can only give you an advance of $5,000 and it's going to be paid directly to Cabinets R Us. So I'm going to edit this. So here you can see I can't edit it here because these are his numbers. But what I can do is I can import them into my side. This is how draws are so easy. You don't have to type anything. If you can educate and train your contractors to use the Genesis system, you can yourself or have a back office person with a few clicks complete the draw processing very easy and effectively. So now I've updated my draw with the contractor's numbers. And so there you see the 10,000. And now I'm going to edit that number and drop it down to 5 because again, I can't do more than that. My total cost of the draw is 20%. Perfect. I'm going to update the amounts. And this is all done prior to going out to the property. And then I can generate a preview of the draw request. So now I have a preview of all the numbers, and there you can see the numbers are listed. This is my first draw. There's my numbers. 50% materials advanced to Cabinets R Us supplier. See purchase order. See, I'd already keyed that in. I'm going to show you where I keyed it in that. Okay, and that is and I'm going to be able to take this with me. I will print this off and put this in my binder that I had created for this project with a tab for draw number 1. And I will take this out with me to the job site because ideally I would like to get wet signatures. So let's go back to the task list. So that was my preview. So now how did I put that information on the fact that we had a Cabinets R Us? That is done in draw request form page 2. Draw request form page 2 is filled out when you come back from the property. When you go out to the property with your PDF of the draw, okay, this bottom section is going to be blank. All right, I filled that out because I wanted to make for the purpose of time. So now I'm at the property and I'm not doing a change order right now. I'm doing a materials advance. And when I went out to the property, whatever work is performed, you will always check off the box number 3 for no non-compliance. So if you're paying an amount, it's compliant. So you always check off box number 3, and you always will type the phrase for number 3, all repairs completed as per draw request. That is the minimum sentence you will put on every single draw. Additionally, you will fill in other details. So now here you can see 2A, unable to make inspection, but here you can see materials advanced to Cabinets R Us supplier, see purchase order. Okay, and so now this is a draw inspection and no change order, no contingency reserve, no other. This is simply a draw with the information being told that we're doing a material advance. So now we have finished this. Let's go back out. And so now we can preview the draw. We don't have to preview again, but that will show that there. So now let's go back to our draw page cover letter. And now because I had to change this, I clicked the wrong box. you must indicate the number of permits that are required. So that didn't show up before. And there's my pre-approval change order that he's requested. Perfection. Okay, now here you see you have your draw page cover letter, your draw request form, page 1, draw request form, page 2. Here in change orders, this is where we are subtracting this money from the cabinetry category for the materials advance. We do not pay this as a draw because the contractor isn't supposed to get the money. Okay, so this is just basically a notification to everybody that, hey, we are subtracting from the purchase order. See the purchase order. This is just additional documentation for materials advanced. Pay $5,000 to Cabinets Are Us. It's a $0 change order. Okay, because we actually are going to pay it out of the draw to the supplier. But we're noting it on the change order why we're doing this. We're not subtracting any money. We don't have to move money into this category to pay it out to Cabinets Are Us. It can be paid through the draw if you have that information in the change order. So everybody knows, don't pay this money to the contractor, pay it to Cabinets Are Us. Okay? That's how you document a change that includes material advance. So now we've got our information. So here we can see we're going to add to that. Once I created that change order, the change order box automatically checked on the draw preview. So let's recap. We have our page draw page number 1 with the numbers of the amount. This $5,000 is for the material advance to Cabinets Are Us. Okay, here's page 2. And here you can see 50% materials advance to Cabinets Are Us supplier. See purchase order. All right, and that is where we've described it. And there you can see it's covered completely in this report. Now, the other thing we have to do on our draw request form page 2 is we need to refer back to the contractor's change order that he submitted. And so how you see that is you go to projects, you go over to here where it says report dashboard, because he's told you he did a change order. All right. In the new release of Genesis, there will be a button showing on your draws that says, please check here to view change orders. So right now you're going to go down here to the bottom where it says draw inspections, contractor draw requests, draw request number 1. Whoops, reload, come on. Where is it? Is it over here? Oh, there it is. PDF, sorry. So this actually shows you the draw that the contractor submitted with his change order. So when the contractor says, I sent it over to you in Genesis, the first place you look is the report dashboard. You print out, you view his draw and you say, oh, he created a change order. I'm going to have to attach this to my draw. So I'm actually going to open this up. Bingo. So there it is. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to, oops, I wanted to open it up with my desktop version. There it is. Okay, good. So now that's his draw. And now under my program, let's go back up to the draw. In progress. There it is right here. Because I haven't finalized it, so it's still showing as the first draw. So now I'm going to go in here under my draw request form page 2. And I'm going to put in here another note. So this is also note 2A. Contractor, see, contractor change order. I can't spell. Invoice, and then dated 3/14/2024 for siding. See contractor change order for pre-approval. Contractor not to start change repairs until notified. And so that's why we're going to put in here that this is unable to be inspected because it's not been approved. And remember, write things in this page 2 of the draw, because the contractor has to sign this and you give him a copy of it. And in this way, he's on notice. Don't do any of this work because you haven't been approved yet. So now I've gone out to the property. I've come back. Everything is perfectly correct. We've edited everything. And let's pretend that we do not have e-signed documents. Everything is still unsigned. You've got your lien waivers. You've got your, and then you go out to the property. And then when you go out to the property, you're going to insert your pictures. So you're going to add the pictures and you're able to upload 25 pictures at a time, either in JPEG, JPEG, or PNG, or you can upload up to 25 megabytes of pictures at a time. So I'm going to just basically show you what that looks like. So we have a program called Fast Image Resizer. It is a free app that you should download to your computer. It's fantastic. You open this up and you can literally copy an entire folder. You can drag and drop an entire folder and you can reduce the file size. So you actually can make it, I typically suggest that you do it in 600 by 600 so that the pictures are square. And so doing, they fit on your page better. If they're oblong, they will sometimes have a tendency to switch. The system will shift them so that they are portrait style. So go in and edit your pictures and you literally, so I'll show you how this works. You see, I just basically took all these photos and I dragged and dropped them. So I took them and I literally took all these pictures and I dragged and dropped them into the Fast Image Resizer, and it will create a brand new folder. So there you see the resized folder. So it does nothing to edit your original images. It just resizes the pictures for you. Okay. Then what I typically do is I delete the pictures of the larger size files and just use my resized images. So I've got the resized photos here from when I went out to the property. And when you're doing a draw inspection, you're not taking 100 pictures. You're typically going to take pictures of just those items that were inspected that represent the work done on the draw. So here we have, so you typically don't really need 25 pictures. But so let's say I'm going to need just these first 5 pictures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to open them. And so you see the 6 files, and now it's going to upload those pictures into the Genesis program to create your album. Done. So now pictures are uploaded, and there you see them all. Okay. So let's go back to the task list. We've done our pre-draw process. We've gone out to the property. We've come back. We're now ready to process this. We have to know who the loan company is. And so we have to enter that into the system. So you actually can you can actually create the lender. You can create a new loan disbursement officer or select an existing lender that you have in your program. So you need the lender company information, and you need the disbursement agent, the disbursement officer. Who is the person that this fax email needs to go to? So you need to find that person, and either you create that officer by putting all their information and add them, or you assign the existing loan officer who you already have. All right. So we've got our loan officer in, boom. And now we're ready to move forward into finalizing our fees. your draw fee is automatically calculated. So now this project I created a while back, and I actually had set this up with the draw fees of only $200. Your draws will be $350. If you do any change order processing, which you're not doing now, and by change order, I mean you inspect changes, then you get to charge the $100 change order fee. And when you do that, you create a change order invoice for your additional fee. We're going to talk about that next month. So our fees are good. No additional fees needed. Submitted. So we are done. So here you're going to print and preview the draw inspection report. Now, just like with the work write-up, do not finalize this until you know for a fact that the lender has paid the contractor. But know this, if you don't finalize it, the contractor cannot submit his next draw. So if you submit the draw and he calls you 2 days later and say, I'm going to be ready for another draw on Friday, which could possibly happen, then you need to know you do have to finalize. So here is my draw package. So I've got 2 permits that are going to be included. All these, the lien waiver, the invoice for the inspection. I've got the pre-approval change order. All right, there is no post-approval change order. Okay, and then you've got the contractor invoice for the change order. Here is your draw, and there you can see now it is assigned to draw number 1. My signature automatically goes on here. There is the change order for Cabinets R Us with $0, but we're going to pay this in the draw. There's my lien waiver. There's my invoice. There's my photos. So now I'm going to download this because now we have to use Acrobat Pro DC. So I'm going to go over to this real quickly. Whoops. And let's open both of them. So now what I have to do is I have to combine files. So I'm going to combine my draw package, and then I'm going to take just one page from the contractor's bid. What's that page? The change order request. So I'm going to delete all the other pages except this, and I'm going to drag and drop that right there. And now I've combined, so I have a complete package. So let me just show you what this looks like. My cover page, draw page 1, draw page 2, lien waiver. Change order regarding the Cabinets R Us, lien waiver, contractor's change order request for a future disbursement, my invoice, and the 2 pages with my pictures. I'm going to combine them, and now it will create a new file. The last thing you have to do, and this is why I strongly recommend you investing in Acrobat Pro DC, it is so powerful, is you're going to basically change the amounts. All right, so you see here, $5,000 is the total amount. Of that $5,000, 100 to most of it doesn't even go to the contractor. Okay, so you see here with the reduction of the holdback, this actually is less than the amount that he's requesting. So what you're going to have to say is this is not going to be paid to the borrower. You're going to edit this, and you're going to basically delete this. Payable to the fee inspector doesn't get changed. And we're going to add text. Whoops, let me edit out of this. Bingo. So I'm going to add the text down here, payable to Cabinets R Us. Now, forgive me, I didn't do this draw correctly because I should have had more money so that he got some of the money and some of the money went to the client. went to cabinets or else. I should have made these larger amounts. So pretend that I actually did that correctly and that I put this as $2,000. So what you would be doing is you would be saying, I'm going to give the contractor X amount of dollars, whatever the total amount of this, subtract the $5,000 it's going to Cabinets R Us, and the difference would go to the contractor minus the 10% holdback. So I would actually go back into this. And do we have time? I have a few seconds. All right, so I'm not going to save this, and I'm going to close all these files out. Nope, I'm not going to save any of this. All right, so let's go back into here. All right, so let's go back into my draw. And I'm going to edit this. So I'm going to pay him $1,250 for that. I'm going to pay him $1,000 for this. And I'm going to pay him $1,100 for that. Okay, so that gives me more money. Perfect. That will work. So let's go to our preview. All right, so the total amount is $6,250. Okay, so of that $6,250, $5,000 is going to be payable to Cabinets R Us, and then $1,525 is going to be going to the borrower. So when you edit this, you're going to edit this document and you're going to change those numbers. Is that the one I need? I need to move this out the way. Okay. There it is. This is the one I was looking for. So you're going to go in here. You're going to edit this. So you're going to put in here, Cabinets R Us, $5,000. And up here where it says payable to borrower, you're going to edit that and you're going to change this to $1,525. And so that's what's going to happen. So now on your lien waiver and release, you're going to have to edit that because you're going to take out the total amount. So he's going to get $1,525, $5,000 goes to that, but the total lien waiver is going to be $7,250, $725, $65.25. So nothing changes on the lien waiver. The only thing that changes is Cabinets R Us is who this check is going to be paid to, and the check will be mailed to the borrower for Cabinets R Us with the intent for the contractor, the borrower, to take this directly to the supplier themselves. Okay, so an important consideration when doing your draw inspection, particularly if there's change orders. And again, we're going to go into all this in the next session. Try to impress upon your clients the importance of being in control of their project, not to abdicate responsibility to the contractors, which many times they do. If a check is being made payable to Cabinets R Us, talk to your borrower. Tell the borrower, listen, don't just give this check to the contractor to take over to Cabinets R Us. And let me explain why. I'm sure he's a trustworthy person and everything is going to be fine, but this is your cabinets. And you want that cabinet purchase order to be in your name. You want the record to show that this money is to be applied to your project only. Because here's an example that has happened to me, and I'm sure several of you. I had a situation where I told them to do this and they didn't. They got the check, they handed the Cabinets R Us check to the contractor. He went to the supplier, and the supplier took that money and paid down a balance he owed on a previous job. He thought he could cover the difference, and he thought he could get it right. Ended up, he couldn't make up the difference. He couldn't find the money. He walked off the job, okay, went MIA because he couldn't pay the difference. He couldn't get the I kept saying, where are these cabinets? Where are these cabinets? Oh, they're on order. They're on order. Finally, I said to the borrower, you need to call the cabinetry company and find out what's taking these cabinets so long to get in. And they said, we have no deposit on your order. So it became a huge mess. They tried to sue him, but you can't draw blood from a stone. Okay? Use this example. I give you stories of real life experiences. One day, we're going to have our general membership meeting, and it's going to be Garrett. It's going to be the Garrett show. And we're going to have him spend 30 minutes talking about horror stories of things that he's experienced as a rehab consultant. Can I get a thumbs up, Garrett? Because only from examples like this, only from stories like this, can you make people realize what could happen to them. So please, you don't have to say that you personally experienced the story, but simply say, you know what? I can tell you a situation where. Let me give you an example why. You don't have to have that personal knowledge, but know this, it's a real story. And can you guys equate to that being a situation that could happen? Okay, so we went over time 10 minutes, but was this a useful session today? All right, so next month, we're going to have draw troubleshooting, okay? And on our general membership meeting, it will be the Garrett Feist Horror Story Show, okay? Is everybody up for that?
Great, thank you.
So Nathan, thank you so much. And Walter, thank you so much for co-hosting this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Until I'm able to support you in the future, schedule one-on-one so I can help you better and be outstanding. Have a great day.